How you doing there? You remember that old Abbott and Costello routine? Who's on first, what's on second, and I don't know who's on third? In chess, and I used to be chess champion in high school. In chess, the only good thing about chess is because I'm not for playing games. Life is too short for games. But the one great thing about chess is it teaches you, or at least trains you, to think many moves ahead. And there's always a way to get an atomist. As I've said before, there's only ever been two foundations of reality ever postulated. One's based on the ether, and the other one's based on atomism. So let's do a who's on first, what's on second, and find out how you back someone into a corner. It could be anybody. A physicist. So I have a PhD in physics. Look at it. It's hanging on the wall right there. I paid a lot of money for that. I know more than you do. I have, over the decades, just like on the totem Anara, I can proudly say, most people don't give a damn, proudly say that I'm the world's foremost expert on the term and occurrence and context of the totem Anara. Or in Sanskrit, the term is Anatman. Yeah. Every Buddhist in the world thinks Buddhism is, this is what they'll say. If Buddhism teaches there is no soul, this is why Buddhism's unique. It teaches anatta or anatman, meaning no soul, which is palpably incorrect. The term is always in reference to phenomena. This is not the soul, that is not the soul, so on and so forth. This is a common via neti or via negativa methodology for apophaticism or retroduction. In other words, subjective synthesis or theurgy through objective negation. They have no doctrinal passage upon which to back themselves up. So when you're debating a physicist and physicists are all atomists, there might be one that's not an atomist, but let's just say 99.99% of them. You do just ask them a simple question like a child would. And they think, well, I got this person's a fool. So all I have to do is say something simple, and there are many ways to start out. You could say, what's a field? My favorite one is, how does a power induction work? We could be talking about like an AC generator, and we'd be talking about wind or solar or nuclear, which of course just spins up a turbine. And by the way, there are other ways to attack atomism, because people say, well, this is the transformation of energy. Oh, really? Yes, that's right. So wind is a transformation of energy. Yeah, or thermoelectric, or like Niagara Falls, or sure, that's right. It's not the case. No energy is transferred from a nuclear reactor into the generation of electricity. And the nuclear energy causes the water to heat up, which drives a turbine, the steam thereof. The wind, the movement of the wind turns the wind turbine, ultra high efficiency DC generator that's up in the wind turbine there, high up in the sky. But there's no transference of energy. Wind is not transformed into energy, or the water is not transformed into, nor is the uranium-235 pellets in the nuclear reactor transformed into energy. That's not the case at all. Nobody ever thinks about stuff like that, but the other front that's easiest is to ask someone about power induction, or the genesis of power. You say, well, what does, and this is how you can get any of them, because they have always got the same answers, because this is how they were all taught. You see, these people are not thinking individuals. They regurgitate the stuff that they were taught. This is what you need to believe. We got a test on this tomorrow. And that's how they end up in postdoctoral work. That's how they end up with PhDs. They always have the same answers because it's the stuff they were all taught to believe, which of course is a religion. That's not science at all. So how does wireless power induction work? In which case the person will say, in one way or the other, well, it's the flow of electrons. Oh, really? Yes, that's right. It's flow of electrons. Oh, yeah? Yeah, this is all power flow is the flow of electrons. Well, how does wireless power induction work? Because they're not connected. Kind of like your toothbrush, your electric toothbrush, or the Apple Watch sits on a power induction plate. You could actually raise it off so there's no contact and it will still charge. It's not that powerful of an inductor, so you can't raise it up that much. But a true inductor could be halfway across the room. And you could put it in a vacuum, so there's nothing flowing between them. So how does wireless power induction work? And this is what they'll always say. They'll say one thing or another, but it always gets back to fields. So, well, those are fields. This is where you got them. Of course, you got them even before you asked the question. So, well, what's a field? You know, let's define field. Well, a field is a line of force. Is it lines? Force? Yes, what we mean is electromagnetic waves. Waves? There's just no such thing as a wave. Well, what do you mean? Well, waves don't exist. Waves are not what things are. Waves are what things do. Like these flames are waving. But there's no such thing as waving. I mean, it's completely ludicrous to talk about waves. Waves don't exist at all. Yeah, but it's electromagnetic waves. You know, so when you talk about waves, we say it's electromagnetic waves. You say, well, I thought you said that all energy was the flow of electrons. Now you're talking about electromagnetic waves. Yes, it's a field of energy. That's right, it's energy. Oh, energy. Yes, energy. Well, and how are you going to define energy? No branch of science has ever... And look this up if you don't believe me. I don't care. Go ahead and look it up. There's no branch of science that's ever defined energy. You will define energy for me. Since you can't say, you know, charge is the flow of electrons, let's get back to wireless power induction. Yes, well, this is called inductive coupling. This is where they're going to try to squash your questioning of them because they know now you have a brain and they had no answers. And it's okay not to have answers because, as I famously said, no one ever goes looking for the answers to things they already think they know. So they'll try to crush you with big words. This is where they always try to crush you with big words, or they'll try to bring up something that they think you don't understand. So, well, yeah, what we're talking about now is inductive coupling, or electromagnetic coupling, in which the magnetic field induces a charge in an unconnected device wirelessly. That's how wireless power induction works. Oh, so it's wireless. So there's no electrons moving now. What we've done is we've supplanted electrons. It's just a magnetic field. I love it when people start talking about magnetism, because if you want to stump anybody on this earth, and by anybody I mean everybody except for me, ask them to define what a magnet is or what magnetism is, because they can't do it. They can't do it. There's YouTube videos. All you have to do is just type in Feynman explains magnetism. The cult figurehead of quantum mechanics is a guy named Richard Feynman. And there's like 100 copies of it on YouTube. Just type in Feynman explains magnetism. He sits there in a high back chair and he talks about an old woman slipping on the ice. And he says, well, you know, ultimately I can't explain it to you because it's just beyond your understanding. Which is a nice way of saying, you're not smart enough for me to tell you what it is. When the truth is, Feynman doesn't know. Now, Feynman would have actually been intelligent if he had said, I don't really know. Science has not reached that point yet. We don't know what magnetism is or how it works. That would have been a smart answer, but, you know, since these people are very, very hubristic, you know, they'll tell you that they know when, in fact, of course, they don't know. How dare you assume that these PhD professors of scholastic academia don't know what a phenomena is in cosmic mechanics? Then they don't know at all. They're atomists. They could never know. To an atomist, this is completely senseless to study fields, and because you can't quantize a field. Well, they do try to quantize fields, but I mean, they think everything is quantizable. Everything can be quantized. Atoms, quarks, protons, photons, neutrons. Photons don't exist, and Nikola Tesla and the wisest minds who ever existed said there's no such thing as a charge-carrying particle or so-called electron. Even his discoverer, J.J. Thomson, called it 1 unit of dielectric induction. Even his discoverer said it was not a particle. He eventually caved because he was offered a Nobel Prize for his discovery. Anyway, getting back to Mr. Foolish Scientist. You see, this is inductive coupling. Yes. Fields induce a charge in an unconnected device wirelessly. So wireless, so there's no electrons moving now, just a magnetic field. So now let's define the term field. So it will always work its way back to field. And they can never define a field. They have no idea what a field is. Someone yesterday ignorantly said to me in a comment on my video, said, you never define fields. Like I've defined it 1,000 times. A field is an ether perturbation modality. Very, very simple. So this scientist would say, this is what they'll always do. Say, well, fields are lines of force. Well, no such lines exist. These are conceptual abstractions. Even the best of them, or the worst of them, you might say, will admit that there's no real lines there. It's completely ludicrous. It's purely conceptual. And force, saying the word force is like saying waves or happiness. Force, waves, happiness. These are not what things are. These were what things do. Something exerts a force. So lines of force is completely nonsensical. The lines definitely don't exist. And force doesn't exist either, because force is what something does to something else. Transference of energy, or the release of energy, dissipation of energy. No, it's not the case at all. Waves are not things either, so waves and force are the same thing in that arena. So now you have to define the term field, and correct that you said that all power is the flow of electrons, when obviously it's not. And this will perplex people. They will go into places that they were not taught how to think, because they were never taught how to think. They were taught how to memorize, regurgitate. Bleh. You ever seen the mother bird like regurgitate, like worm vomit into the little bird's mouth? Bleh. That's all they do is regurgitate nonsense. But now they've said that the what's going on between wireless power induction is the fields and the lines of force. But lines don't exist. Force is not a thing. Force doesn't exist at all. It has no principality, if you want to get into Platonic nuance there. And they've never defined the term field, or the Greek word kora. They have never ever defined the term field. This is the who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third, Abbott and Costello routine that is so easy to play with these people. See, all you have to, it starts out this way. If you ever want to get them, pull them in, you ask them a question like a child. You say, how does power induction work? And they're like, oh, this is a simple fool. I'm going to exercise my brain power. You know, PhD I got hanging on my wall. I'm going to teach this intellectual peon what power induction is. Oh, power induction is the flow of electrons. Well, no, it can't be, because how would wireless power induction work? Well, in that case, it is electromagnetic induction. I thought you said it was the flow of electrons. We were talking about fields. We're talking about lines of force. Lines of force don't exist, and you can't define the word field. You can't even define the word energy. They can't. Once again, you know, this is not to exercise how intelligent you are over them. However, that's always kind of fun. It's to point out that they're so full of themselves. Not only do they not know, but they don't want to know, because they think they already do know. Nobody goes looking for the answers to things they think they already know. These are not truth seekers. This is not Aristotelian or Platonic or Pythagorean truth seekers. Even if they were taught this, and I was taught the same sort of garbage, you know, they don't ask themselves, you know, this doesn't make any sense. Mother Nature can't work this way. I know it can't work this way because Mother Nature can't break the law of Occam's razor. This breaks it all over the place. Like dropping a piece of tempered glass into a million pieces, it breaks it over and over and over again. They're too blind to even see the stupidity of their own ridiculous belief system, which is atomistic, illogical, contrary to Mother Nature, and completely assaults Occam's razor at its fundamental core over and over again, like that movie Psycho where they bringing the knife down. Sorry, I had to drop in a movie reference there. I've done this many times over the years, not because I enjoy it. Well, I kind of do enjoy it a little bit. It's just to hold a mirror up to these people and say, look, you really are the emperor with no clothes. You really don't know. And even if they were to realize that, they don't care. Well, I don't care because you got a PhD on the wall and you don't. Right there, see, people going to take my word for it over yours. Who's going to believe you? You fat, bald, tattooed loser. I got a PhD. You're a bald nobody on YouTube. It's like, that may be true. I don't mind being a nobody, but I'm a lot wiser than you are. A lot wiser. And I actually know how things work. And I exercise common sense, logic, and wisdom. And that's something that your PhD will never give you. Well, I'm in academia. My feelings are well respected. I'm a member of the clergy. Academia. That's exactly what it is, by the way. It's a clergy of pseudo-intellectual, troglodytic Luddites. Everybody needs to learn the words troglodyte and Luddite. Is really good. Sorry. I crack myself up sometimes because I've had these debates with these people before, and they always lose because they're always backed into a corner. And the reason why they're always backed into a corner is because they're atomists. And their silly little belief system is not based upon facts, logic, or common sense at all. It's based upon dogma, piddle paddle, hooey nonsense. Anyway, I hope you got a laugh at least out of this video. Is this video too highbrow? Is it too highbrow? Sorry if it was. Anyway, I hope you like these videos. If you do, send me an email. Contact information's below. Tell me to jump off a cliff. Whatever makes you happy. Oh, by the way, I'm working on the definitions. I'll be done no later than Friday. I'm working my butt off on it right now. Okay, thanks.